All right, men, welcome to today's episode, How to Improve Your Relationship 10 Times Faster. That's not an exaggeration. Like, there are certain things that you can do that will help you improve it at least 10 times faster. Really, that's an underestimate. It can be 100 times faster, 1,000 times faster than it would be without these two key principles that you're going to learn today. So, my name is Mike Frazier, MD. I'm a psychiatrist and marriage coach who helps high achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. What I teach is based on Christian principles. So, here's what you're doing now. Right now, you want things to get better in your marriage, right? You want more intimacy. You want to end a separation. You want to stop a divorce. You want to overcome infidelity. Okay. And maybe there's other things that you want to. Maybe you want to improve your relationship with God, with yourself, with your kids, with your money, with your weight, whatever. Okay. So with your marriage, you're on this podcast right now because you're like, oh, I want to improve my relationship faster. Yeah. How do I do that? So you're listening to podcasts, you're learning things, you're reading. All that is really good, right? It's helpful. Okay. You're getting new information, you're acting on it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? And so you do see improvements that way, right? But the problem is you're missing the two things that really accelerate results. And I'm going to tell you what they are. But the first one, I played tennis in high school, and maybe you've played sports yourself. Um, and when I first started, right, my mom signed me up for some lessons. And, I learned the basic swings and things like that. And as I got a little bit better, they hired another coach for me. And what he did was he would point out, like, okay, your grip needs to just shift this little bit, right? And then I'd hit much more consistently. Or you need to swing this way with your serve, and then I'd hit a lot harder, right? And these are things I would not have figured out on my own. Okay. Even if I would have watched a video or things like that, sure, I could get information, but if it wasn't working quite how I wanted, or, maybe I thought I was applying it the right way, but I really wasn't, it wouldn't have worked. Right. So my coach, right, he could see things that I could not see. Okay. One of my coaches right now, he taught me that your eyes are in the wrong place to evaluate yourself. Okay. Your eyes, right? They can't see yourself. Like without a mirror, you can't see, your face. You can see your hands. I'm looking at myself right now. I can see my hands. I can see the front of my body. Can't see my back at all. Right. So, but a coach, they can see all of that. Their eyes are in the right place to evaluate you and see what's going on and make adjustments as you need. Right. So if you're trying to coach yourself or do it yourself, yeah, can you get some benefit? 100%. But you're limited, right? You're limited in how much you can see, how well you can evaluate yourself, just because that's the way we're built, right? People on the outside of us can see things about ourselves better than we can. Okay. So that's one of the things, right? Is coaching. Do it yourself. You can get to a certain point, but it's going to be a lot slower, right? Like if my coach, he taught me a different grip and a different swing for my forehand. Could I have figured out that on my own? Maybe, but it probably would have taken me like literally years to try to just kind of guess and figure out how to do that. Could I have watched some of the pros and tried to copy them? Sure. But when it wasn't going quite right, it would take me so much longer than my coach just saying, hey, just turn your grip a little bit, right? So that's the benefit of coaching. They can see what you can't see and accelerate those results at least 10 times faster. Okay. So the other thing that I learned recently was about the three levels of integrity that people in general have. Okay. So about 1% to 3% of people do the right thing no matter what. You maybe know somebody like this, right? And as a high achieving guy, you might think this is you, but the next question will kind of check you on this. Like I probably would have said to myself, oh yeah, that's me. I do the right thing no matter what. Or in other words, like I keep my word no matter what. No matter what I say, I follow through with it. And then I started checking myself on that. And I was like, well, for a long time I was saying I was going to get out of bed on time and I wasn't doing it. Or in my programs, I recommend people do certain exercise every day and I wasn't even really doing them myself, which is not really good. So as I looked and checked myself, I said, oh, wait a second, maybe I'm not this 1% to 3% that do the right thing no matter what. So there's the 90 to 95% of people that do the right thing when someone is watching. Okay. So if you notice that in your work or at home, right? Like if you have company over, if you act differently towards your kids than you do when they're not home, if you act nicer to them, um, if somebody's watching you at work, if your boss is watching you, or a big client or something is watching you, if you act a little differently. Okay, you kind of know that, all right, maybe there's room for me to grow, right? Maybe there's room for me to step into more of someone who does the right thing all the time. But all of us benefit from having an observer, right? When someone's watching, we all kind of step up our game. Okay. So that's the 95%. That's me and probably you, right? And then there's the 1 to 3% that really just don't do the right thing, don't really care. Most of these people, they're like in jail or on their way to jail. They're swindlers, they're the Ponzi scheme folks, right? They don't really care about the people around them. They just want to get away with what they can get away with. Okay. So again, I can't really help that group of people. I don't really want to help that group of people that just wants to get away with whatever they can. Who I am and who I can help, right, are the people that do the right thing but need that extra check, right? Because when you're doing it on your own, it's really easy to justify not following through on things you say you're going to do, right? So like for me, I say, oh, I'm going to wake up on time, but then what I usually tell myself is, oh, yeah, like I don't really, I need extra sleep today or something like that. So I broke my commitment to myself, but it's easy, right? It's easy to justify. Where if I had some more accountability for that and I had to like tell someone every morning, hey, I woke up on time or I didn't, okay, that would raise the stakes, right? It would make me. So Robert Cialdini, he has this book called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. One of the big drives people have in general is to be consistent, right? To look consistent, at least to other people. So if I say I'm going to wake up on time and someone says, hey, did you wake up on time today? Right? It's going to be a lot more likely that I wake up on time because I have to give that accountability, right? So again, we're talking about accelerating your improving your marriage, improving your relationship 10 times faster. Okay. So, if you hear, oh, like you need to do this, right? You need to breathe before you strike out, right? Before you lash out in anger, take some breaths. We've talked about on the podcast. You can say, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And then, you didn't do it. And you're like, well, she made me really mad, right? You justify it fast. But if someone was checking on you and said, hey, man, did you breathe this time? Oh, shoot. No, I didn't. Okay. Well, like what happened? Let's get into that. And you kind of feel that pain of inconsistency. Okay. Next time, it's a much better chance you're going to take that breath versus if you didn't have that accountability and you just said, oh, yeah, well, she made me even more mad this time. So I didn't breathe this time either. Right. It's easy to justify it to yourself. But when someone's outside of it, kind of calling you on these self-justifying lies, that's how you accelerate your improvements in your marriage and in your life so much faster. Okay. So yeah, so I talked about waking up early, but maybe it's like eating treats. Oh, like I really deserve this treat, right? And you just eat it. Versus if someone was kind of watching you or saying, okay, like, did you eat treats this week? Or yeah, I missed a workout, but I was just really tired. Right? Versus if somebody's on you and just saying like, hey man, where were you today? That's why sometimes when you have a workout partner, it works a lot better because you kind of feel accountable to them to show up and work out together. Okay. So look, I'm in that 90 to 95%. Okay. This is kind of a hard realization for me, but if you've listened to this podcast for a while, I'm the type of person that um, has a harder time seeing my problems. um, my issue is more acting superior to other people versus feeling inferior. Um, and that's what's done a lot of damage in my marriage and to my family, and what I'm really working hard on, and having my own accountability for that too. So I'm in that 99 or 95%. And again, like as I've used coaching and accountability more, I'm seeing just the benefits of that. So the problem with do it yourself, it's slow and it doesn't always work, right? If you're trying to fix your relationship, do it yourself is even more difficult, right? What you're trying so far isn't working, or you want it to work faster, right? If you're listening to this podcast, you want your improvements to go faster. Okay, so what you're doing now is not working. And also, if things are at a more serious point, time is of the essence. If you're already in a separation, if you're already in a divorce, if you're trying to overcome infidelity, um, it matters, right? There's over 2,000 divorces every day in the United States. So like it happens fast. So you need results quickly. There's not a lot of time for you to just do trial and error. Okay. There's not time for you to just check and see, oh, I'll try this and see if it works. I'll try that and see if it works. No, you need fast results. Okay. And I'm telling you, what will get you there is coaching and accountability. That's what gets 10 times faster results. Okay. So, and even if you're not like separated or about to divorce or whatever, like how long do you want to sit in a relationship that's not as good as you want it to be, where the intimacy is not there, where the connection is not there, where you don't have a good mental, emotional, and sexual connection with your wife, right? How many days do you want to be in that? Okay. Because if you keep trying it yourself, it's going to take a lot longer than if you get coaching and accountability to get you there much faster. Would you rather spend a year working on yourself and having things get a little bit better, or would you rather spend a month or 3 months and have it be 10 times better than it is right now? Okay. That's a decision you got to make. And what will get you there is coaching and accountability. Okay. So again, the two accelerators for results in relationships and, in an area, but we're talking about relationships here, coaching and accountability. Okay. Accountability provides that motivation that pretty much all of us need to do what we say we'll do, right? To actually follow through on the things that we're learning. Okay. Lets us know someone's watching and that they're following up, right? And so we have that extra motivation to follow through. So we've done this with our kids recently with them cleaning their rooms. We asked them to clean their rooms, but really we haven't been holding them very accountable for that. The deal is they're supposed to clean their rooms before they watch screens. And a lot of times we'll just say, hey, did you clean your room? And they'll just say, yeah, and then go play. And we don't really check. So lately we've been holding them more accountable, right? We've been saying, okay, is your room clean? Yeah. All right, let's go look at it. Oh, wait a second. Oh, I need to go double check. That's usually what they say. And so then we go and check it together and we look through, right? You don't have to be mean about this stuff. It's just, you said it would be this way. Let's go see if it's that way, right? It's just holding them to their word. And it's a good thing, right? It helps them really realize, okay, if I said this, I need to follow through with it. And then giving them praise when they do it, right? Same principle with coaching. So I learned this from Tucker Max. He says, culture is what you tolerate, not what you celebrate. Okay. So if, with guys that come into my program now, what I don't tolerate is people not doing their daily accountability, right? That's not going to work. Okay. If you're going to come in, you're going to do it daily because that's how you're going to get fast results. Okay. And if not, I'm going to be on you and saying, what's going on? How come you're not following through on this? Right. So, and what's happening because of that is people are getting results much faster. Okay. That's why I'm talking about this today. And then coaching is that outside perspective. First of all, it teaches you the right way to do things, right? So there's the teaching element. So you get the teaching, then you go and do it through accountability, and then you get the coaching to say, okay, like here's where you kind of went wrong there, right? Here's a little adjustment you need to make, okay? These are adjustments you either wouldn't see at all on your own, or it would take you forever to figure out, years, or maybe never, okay? Like in my own coaching, I've gotten breakthroughs in one session that either I would have never seen at all, or it would have taken years for me to figure out, right? And with the men I work with, we can change patterns that have been plaguing them for years in literally just a few minutes. When we get in here and we look at that whole model, right? What are the thoughts that are happening? What are the feelings that are happening? Okay. Just seeing it laid out, they're like, wow, right? And then we can go in and start adjusting that. Literally from day one, people that come in the program, their relationship is better from day one, right? And then as they do the daily accountability every day, their marriage gets a little bit better, okay? So after the 90 days of the program, their marriage is totally different than it was at the beginning, okay? So in summary, do it yourself. It's a common way men try to fix things, especially in their relationships. I don't know why, for most guys, it's easy to say, oh yeah, I went and got a coach for my, for my business, or I got a coach for my, for my tennis or for golf, right? It's easy to say I'd get a coach for that. It's a little harder to say, yeah, I got a coach to figure out my brain, or I got a coach to help me with my marriage or my emotions. Mainly just a culture thing, right? I think it's moving more to where it's more acceptable and fine to do that, or to say I have a life coach. I think still saying I have like a marriage coach or relationship coach, it's a little bit more culturally feels kind of weird. And that's why in my program, we do it all as anonymously and privately as you want. I think someday we'll probably get to where it's fine to say that and people can just admit, yeah, I didn't really have great examples of a relationship growing up and I wanted to learn how to make it work. I think we're moving there. And you can be a leader in that too by doing this, and for your kids too. But again, trying to do it yourself, it's slow. At very best, it's slow. It's going to take a long time to trial and error and figure out what works and what doesn't. And at worst, it's never going to produce what you want, right? You're going to keep trying and you're not going to figure it out, or it's going to be too late, right? You're already going to be separated or divorced, okay? Or it's going to be years and years gone by, and now if you have no connection and you're just kind of sitting around in your marriage like roommates or less than roommates, right? Kind of living separate lives, shift passing in the night. Like that's the direction it goes if you don't figure this out, right? If you don't figure out how this works, okay? And look, if you could have done it on your own, you already would have. You're a smart guy, like you understand this stuff. But what you probably haven't done yet is used, you're learning good principles like listening to this podcast. You're probably reading other books, listening to other podcasts, watching YouTube videos, all of that. Probably doing all of that. But it's much slower than it could be if you came in and you got coaching and you were held accountable for those changes. Okay. So again, the drivers to improve your relationship 10 times faster. They're coaching to learn what you need to do, accountability to make sure you're doing it, and then coaching again to double check and see, okay, how did you apply it? What went wrong? What do we need to do differently? Okay. So in my program, Love, Intimacy, and Legacy, you get daily accountability and coaching. Okay. That's what I expect when you come in that you're going to be doing. It's not a lot, but it's something that you need to do and post every day when you're in there, because that's what's going to get your results faster, right? That's what I tolerate. What I don't tolerate is you come in not doing stuff every day. You need to be doing it every day. So it's 90 days. You're going to have a completely different relationship at the end of the 90 days. If you'd like to come and work with me and use coaching and accountability to improve your relationship 10 times faster, again, that's to me, like 10 times faster is a major underestimate. Like in a month, you could very easily do what you could do in a year trying to do it by yourself. Okay. Even 10 years, right? So if you want to improve that relationship, you want to have more intimacy, mental, emotional, and sexual connection with your wife, you want to create that good legacy for your kids, that example of what a good marriage should look like. Look, this is also going to help you with your parenting as you learn to manage your emotions and your thoughts and how to communicate better. All that's going to just trickle down into your kids, into your work. Okay. You're just going to have a much better life, because the quality of your life at the end of the day is determined by the quality of your relationships. There's a Harvard study that proves that. They looked at this over time. It's not money, it's not power, it's not whatever, it's the quality of your relationships. So making the investment to do this, best thing you could do for yourself. So if you want to come in and get those results 10 times faster or more, okay, I'd love to help you. So visit MikeFrazierMD.com and apply today. I like applications now because, again, like I'm looking for guys that are going to get in there and work every day, okay, for 90 days. That's the deal, okay? So again, MikeFrazierMD.com, MikeFrazierMD.com, and apply today. If you don't, you can also put in strongmenstrongmarriages.com and it'll redirect to there. And there's also a link in the show notes. All right, guys, I will see you there. Fill out the application and I'll reach out to you with next steps. All right, stay strong. We'll see you next episode.